There is a specific kind of regret that hits about 3 weeks after you bring someone new into your business. The work is not moving faster. Your calendar is somehow fuller than it was before they arrived. The questions are constant. Every piece of context they need has to come from you. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice is asking whether you made the right decision bringing them in at all. I had that feeling more than once. And each time I had it, I made the same mistake. I interpreted it as a signal about the person rather than a signal about the situation. I concluded that the hire was wrong when what was actually happening was completely predictable and had nothing to do with whether the person was the right fit. Every hire slows you down before it speeds you up, not because of the person, because of the onboarding cost. The time and energy required to transfer enough context, enough judgment, enough institutional knowledge for someone to operate independently in your business is front-loaded. It comes out of your capacity before it adds to your capacity. And if you have never accounted for that cost explicitly, it feels like the hire created the problem rather than the transition period creating a temporary drag on the way to a permanent gain. You brought someone in to help and somehow ended up with more to do than before. Not because they were bad at their job, because every time they needed something, you were the one who had to provide it. Every question came to you. Every decision needed your input. Every piece of missing context had to come from somewhere, and that somewhere was always you. The person you hired to take things off your plate created a new layer of work that did not exist before they arrived. That layer of work is the onboarding cost made visible, and its size is almost always proportional to how underdeveloped the systems and documentation in the business were before the hire happened. A business with clear processes, documented standards, and explicit decision frameworks onboards new people relatively quickly because the knowledge they need exists somewhere other than the founder's head. A business where everything lives in the founder's head onboards slowly and expensively because every piece of context has to be transferred personally through conversation, through shadowing, through the founder being present in every situation until the new person has absorbed enough to operate on their own. There is a specific exhaustion that comes from being the person everyone on your team needs something from. Not the exhaustion of doing the work. The exhaustion of being the answer to every question, the resolver of every uncertainty, the source of every piece of missing context. You brought people in so you could focus. Instead, you became the support system for the people you hired to support you. That inversion has a name. It is called the dependency spiral, and it is what happens when a team is built around a founder rather than built around a system. Breaking out of the dependency spiral requires accepting something uncomfortable. The investment required to get a new hire to independence is not made during the onboarding period. It was supposed to be made before the hire happened, in the documentation and systematization work that most founders deprioritize because it does not generate immediate revenue. The founders who hire smoothly are almost always the ones who did that work in advance. They built the infrastructure that a new person needs to operate independently before the new person arrived. The onboarding cost was already paid before the hire started. The first 90 days after hiring someone almost always feel worse than before you hired them. The work is not moving faster. Your calendar is fuller than it was. The questions never stop. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you are wondering whether you made the right call. That feeling is not a sign that you hired the wrong person. It is a sign that the onboarding cost has not yet been recovered by the productivity gain. Every hire has a break-even point. Most founders hit the exhaustion before they hit the break-even. Understanding that the slowdown is temporary and structural rather than permanent and personal is what allows you to push through the onboarding period rather than pulling back from it. Pulling back looks like micromanaging, like stepping in every time you are not sure the person will handle something correctly, like taking tasks back that you gave away because the uncertainty feels worse than the workload. Every time you pull back, you extend the onboarding period and delay the break-even. Every time you push through and let the person develop the judgment they need in real situations, you move the break-even closer. The founders who hire well are not the ones who find better people. They are the ones who understand that the cost of bringing someone to independence is always paid up front, and they invest in reducing that cost before the hire rather than suffering through it after. They document before they delegate. They build systems before they bring in people to run them. and they accept that the first 90 days of any hire will require more of them, not less. After the break, even the gain is real and it compounds. The person who struggled through onboarding and came out the other side capable of operating independently is worth significantly more to the business than the productivity they contribute in any single week. They are a structural asset, someone who carries a portion of the business's intelligence outside of the founder's head, someone whose capability reduces the founder's irreplaceability in a specific domain. That is what hiring is actually for, not a short-term capacity increase. A long-term reduction in founder dependency. Next, we are going to look at something that most founders walk past without recognizing what it is worth. The asset you build every time you deliver. I will see you tomorrow.